It's your boy Wiener Dog here. Today with another video. I wanted to give a quick update of my life of the last couple of months. So without further ado, I'm just gonna start from the beginning, right? So imagine cold calling every day for 2 months and getting literally zero results. That was me like 5 months ago. I was doing market fit research, which is even harder than cold calling because I had to figure the right messaging for the right people, which was so hard because if you don't know who your ICP is, damn, is it hard to find who it actually is, right? And I was doing everything right. I was disciplined. I was showing up, journaling, cold showers. All my habits were in place. I was putting the output. I was doing everything, and it just seemed like the messaging did not work. Like the people, I was not getting anybody interested, right? And I did not realize that I was doing market fit research because I thought these people already had a ICP, which they clearly did not, right? Because or a script, I literally had to make everything myself, test everything myself, which is really hard, and it really made me question myself. And sales humbles you in a way nothing else does, right? No product market fit, no market validation. I mean, market validation it was, and rejection just like it's hard. It's hard on your mindset, right? But I stayed because I burned the boats. I said I always go all in everything that I do. So I said, screw it, man, let's go. Right? And then a little after, um, they wanted to promote me into customer support, which honestly, I was afraid it was a demotion. I felt anxiety because I did not want to leave sales. And, my life prior to that, I was in high ticket sales, I was closing, I was doing appointment setting. So I thought, maybe customer support might be a demotion, but I got really anxious. But that role exposed something I had never really paid attention to, which was systems, right? Luckily for me, customer support was really easy for me, and I had all of this extra time. So I went to one of the owners and I said, "Hey, I know you have other projects. I would love to work with you on other projects because I just have so much free time and I don't want to be unproductive with my time." He thought about it for a while and then he pulled me into another project. And that first week was a trial. It was customer support for GLP-1 related stuff. Essentially, I was overseeing a outsourced customer support team, so I had to anytime we got a message from a client via email, I would have to copy paste their name and email into a sheet and then copy paste it into Slack with a template and then send it to their customer support team so they can review it immediately. And after a while of doing manual work for about a week, I thought there has to be a better way of doing this. I'm always thinking about doing things better. How can I improve things and how can I do it better? So at first, I just grabbed AI and I started learning how I could automate with Google Sheets. So first, it was me manually putting name, email, health ID, outcome. But once I pressed outcome, it would push it automatically into a Slack channel with the template with their name, email, and message. Right. So what used to take me like 7 steps, I probably reduced it to like 4 or 5. Right. It took me one Sunday. It took me a while to figure it out with AI because I don't know. I have no idea how to program. I don't know any code. I don't know any of that stuff. I just helped myself with AI and I started learning this stuff. Started testing and trying until I did it. And then the second level, I thought, now that I pretty much automated this, a good portion of it, could I take it to the next level? And I started self teaching myself NAN. And what used to take multiple steps literally now takes like 1 or 2 steps, right? Because now I automated anytime we get a message from somebody, the automation automatically extracts names and email from the email itself, the timestamp of when it came from, and automatically pushes its outcome. So all I have to do is review it, confirm, and then confirm the outcome, and then automatically pushes into Slack with a template. So it literally saved me, now taking me like 1 to 2 steps versus 7, right? Which enabled me to have way more, how do you say it, capacity for other projects, right? At the same time, I passed a trial with customer support. This guy pulled me into another role or another project with Sumorlin. He is selling GLP-1 stuff, and he actually liked what I did, and he said that he would love for me to apply it for customer support across all the drugs that he wants to sell, like GLP-1, Sumorlin, all that stuff. And he put me on sales on the Sumorlin side. So anybody who does not convert on the first time on the funnel, my job is to follow up and close them. So I thought, hey man, sales has probably the same inefficiency problem. So I thought, hey, what if I could automate the first text with somebody just leaves cart and they don't buy? And I built that because instead of me trying to manually follow up with 100 people who didn't reply, I can just follow up with 10 people or 20 people who did reply to my message via, increasing my chances of closing them. And then I figured, why not follow up with the follow-ups? Why not automate the follow-ups? So people who don't respond on the first text, why not automate the second, third, and fourth text until, we just break up? And I actually did, right? So I learned how to do this. It took me a while. It took me like 1 week learning and practicing hard. And I even learned how to create an AI sales agent from this workflow that automatically replies and closes. I still have to train it. I still have to prompt it. But, I always wanted to learn how to create an AI sales agent, which can also become an AI chatbot on the website, which can book people to close or whatever. I even saw NAN have automated customer support. And the reason I mention this is because at scale, this becomes useful at scale because I'm just one person and I possibly can't handle like 100 conversations at the same time. But AI can have those conversations for me and I can just select the few that I think are the hottest. Same with customer support. So I'm in that bark. I just fell in love with automation. I realized that you can basically do a lot with automations. Even with YouTube, I saw that I can record this video, push this video into an automation where it gets me titles for the video, transcript. It does so many things. It's just incredible, right? Now, around the same time, I started thinking a lot about money. So as I passed that trial, I met with him again, and I told him, hey, I want to make an extra $1,000 from this project. And luckily for me, he accepted. Right, after 7 months working with them and 1 week working this project, I think I already had a certain reputation, and I'm starting to realize that reputation is everything for opportunities and your network. The more people you know and your reputation, right? But he gave me the opportunity, and plus I'm projected to make $2,000 in a month, this month, and maybe it's too early to say that, but I'm super excited because after that I'm going to make commission as well. But at the same time, I started thinking a lot about money, and I had the story. I had to finance my motorcycle, right? I live here in Medellin. I live in some neighborhood, but I'm really grateful for my motorcycle. My motorcycle is what allows me to, commute to workouts and stuff like that. It makes everything possible, and it actually makes life cheaper, right? But, I ended up paying like double on the motorcycle financed, even though it took me like 7 months to pay. So I could have bought that motorcycle in 3 to 4 months, but I started realizing interest versus principal, right? I got a loan for 5 million pesos, which is roughly $1,400. I ended up literally paying double, like $2,800, even though I paid it fast, and it just made me reflect profoundly because double, I could have bought a new equipment. I could have bought like a new MacBook or something like that for work. And I started reflecting because a long time ago, I met an investor who he literally told me that he would pay everything in cash. He never had a credit card. which was weird because up to that point, I had been reading a lot of books, and a lot of them push you get credit for that, get loan for that, for real estate, etc., etc., etc. And I didn't understand. This guy paid cash everything. Now it starts to make interest. Credit cards and interest is the bank's game. And I realized that over years and decades, all of the interest, I mean, I've done the math myself, like all the interest I paid up to this point, I could have bought other things in cash. But I didn't because it's all lost to interest. Which I start to realize maybe wealthy people earn interest over decades and use that to their favor instead of poor people who pay credit cards, consumer loans, etc., on things that depreciate. Which made me reflect profoundly on how I'm gonna move with life moving forward. Like if you can get the advantage of both. You can get credit without paying interest if you pay everything fully every month. But it really made me reflect, man. I should probably not get loans or anything for consumer stuff, or if I do have a loan or credit card, pay everything fully in 1 month, so I don't pay interest because all of that stuff adds up, and all that money I could have saved and invest into the stock market and build my capital and build all that money saved up into the stock market investments and stuff like that could produce me, or at least help me build capital to in the future buy a house and with cash, or maybe not even that, to get a loan on a house that can produce me income, having assets that produce income instead of requiring my time and labor and money to pay off, right? So it really made me reflect. I built a financial system with AI. I started planning finances, and I started learning how to save again. A while back, with one of the owners of the company, he told me to start saving money, which really at that point I was paying for my motorcycle, so it was impossible. But it really made me reflect that if you don't have savings, you are super fragile in life because any emergency or anything like that can just blow you away, which is not an ideal scenario, right? I started planning with AI my finances and realized that I'm saving like $191 approximately, or less, more or less 150, $191. My expenses are like $791 here, and that's with fun. And I live in an apartment with my girl. I pay for the utility bill, for food. At least my expenses are pretty low. But projected to make 2K this month. It's gonna help me save way more money, thankfully, and I feel super grateful for that. But it all started with asking. I feel super grateful because I asked for more responsibility. I've obviously done a good job in the past. Asked for a raise. I mean, not really. It's not really a raise because I'm working on another project aside from that. But now I'm getting pulled into more projects, and I'm starting to reflect. Maybe it was worth it because maybe it was a rough ride for the 5-6 months, basically making 1K. I was at this point. I was starting to feel a little bit stressed, man, because I know money can stretch far here in Medellin, but not that much, right? And it's just 1K is pretty tight here in Medellin, right? Even with, especially since I have a girlfriend, I have to take her out on dates and stuff like that. But 2K is a milestone for me, but my goal is to make $3,200 and more, so I can live close to the stadium. I've already done the math. I already know exactly where I want to live. It's going to be an 8-minute commute from my motorcycle to the gym, 10-minute commute to my music teacher. So I feel grateful up to this point for everything, and I feel like I'm slowly getting to that goal, right? So maybe what I've realized through this whole process is that persistent compounds, and that in order to make more, you got to provide more value, and that's something that I told him, and he's like, yeah, not a lot of people believe in the value creation thing. It's like you can get paid more without working more, man. What it matters is your impact, right? The outcomes. If I help reduce refund rates, that's an impact that I'm creating that can later be excused as getting a raise, right? So that's that. That's pretty much an update. I'm not sure if there's anything else I want to add into this, but yeah, weird dog out. God bless.